Hello everybody, welcome back to the Dragon's Library. Today we are going to be discussing Werewolf by Night. Ooh. It's the new Marvel TV special on Disney+. So, let's get into the premise. Basically, Werewolf by Night follows a few main characters as they all gather together to mourn the death of Ulysses Bloodstone. He's like a famous monster hunter, he has a magic relic that was passed through his family called the Bloodstone. Anyway, 5 experienced monster hunters are summoned by his widow, and they're instructed they're going to have to participate in a hunt to determine their new leader. Whoever kills the monster they've captured and tied the Bloodstone to get to, become the new leader and have the Bloodstone. Which is a powerful magical relic that can extend your lifespan, do all sorts of nicey things, and is also sort of an anti-monster weapon. In addition, Ulysses' estranged daughter, Elsa, has also arrived to compete for the Bloodstone, despite Verusa's warning her not to do so. Verusa is the widow. She's like her stepmom. Anyway, in addition to that, we also have Jack Russell, who is a mysterious hunter. He's killed 100 monsters. They have this whole moment in the beginning where there are a bunch of people around there. They're all talking about their kill counts. Like, oh yeah, I've been here a few times. And then when the widow's introducing them all, they're like 60 kills, 75 kills, 100 kills, and he's like 100 kills, and everybody's just like, wait, you've killed more monsters than all of us. It's like, yeah, barely. So with all that said and done, let the hunt begin. Staying against the premise for a second before I move on to the characters, Universal has to be kicking themselves. Because Marvel is essentially setting up a connected horror movie universe better than they did. Screw the Dark Universe. Let's get the Marvel Monster Universe going. This is going to be so cool. The movie is gorgeous. The characters are great. So let's get into the characters and then the effects, because I got some stuff to say about both of those. Moving into the characters, we got Gael Garcia Bernal as Jack Russell, or the Werewolf by Night. Laurie Donnell is doing a great performance as Elsa Bloodstone. She's sort of like the secondary protagonist, and she's kind of like a deuteragonist for this whole thing. Then we've got Verusa Bloodstone as the main antagonist. And we've also got Kirk R. Thatcher as one of the monster hunters. Then we've got Leonardo Nam and David J. Watts. I don't think I've seen any of them anything like that. I feel like I've seen the big guy who was swinging the axe around for a time. Not sure where I've seen him before. As for that, we also have Terry Jones playing Ted, or the Man-Thing. He's kind of think of Swamp Thing from DC. He's kind of that same thing, big old vine monster. All in all, it's pretty cool. We also got Richard Dixon voicing Ulysses Bloodstone on a pre-recording, where he turned his own corpse into an animatronic, which is a little weird. Pretty cool, though. All in all, the characters are great. The actors do a good job portraying them. Jack Russell and Elsa are the main two protagonists, like I said. He's a werewolf monster hunter he's there for spoiler reasons, so I'm going to, leave that there. Then we got Elsa. She's the estranged daughter of Ulysses Bloodstone. She disliked her family's traditions, wanted to break away from them, and now it's her turn to reclaim her birthright, which she gave up when she left, by winning the competition. Once she does this, she feels like she can finally put everything behind it. Then we have our antagonist, Verusa Bloodstone. She's Ulysses' widow and Elsa's stepmother. She's apparently was very interested in control and has apparently used Ulysses' death to become more powerful and influential. She clearly dislikes Elsa and sees her sort of as an obstacle to her own power. She was clearly a cruel stepmother and did not like her, and is implied to be part of the reason why Elsa left. All in all, this is a very short affair, only about 53 minutes. So, very short movie, but it does an excellent job. And to talk about that, we're going to need to move into the effects. That's one of the cool things about this movie. This movie, how Marvel uses a lot of CGI? Well, this is not one of those times. They did this movie in black and white, for the most part. There's the colored scene at the very end. Most of this movie is in black and white, shot with loads of practical effects and old filming styles. And it looks really good. They nailed those old monster movies, the feel of them. And the effects still look good. They just look older and very well done. They're focused on practical effects. I would love to see people continuing to push practical effects further, because you can't do everything with CGI. It's just not practical. And I think allowing a mix of practical and CG is better than just going full CG. And I like that Disney is putting money into developing practical effects. and doing things like this. This experiment, I hope this does well. A lot of critics have been gushing over this. I really hope Disney takes a look at this and it's like, alright, we have a monster brand. We can totally use this. We can totally do stuff with this. Because this seems to be an area Disney is a lot less restrained on their creators. And you can really tell the director and the writers just have a lot of fun with this. They fight the monster. They have this like big old monster in this giant hedge maze in the back garden of like a mansion. It's so cool. It's great. The effects are really cool. The werewolf effects were very impressive for being purely practical. Like there's like no CG here almost. It is just really freaking cool. Now, there were a few CG things, I think, with the swamp monster, though it was hard to tell. Like, I think it might have just been a mask when he first runs into him. And in the later scenes, there might have been, like, 1 or 2 scenes where it was, like, CG. But the CG is very toned down, and when they do use it, it's very clear they did it in such a way where they could have potentially done it practical, but it might have been unreasonable. I'm not sure, because, again, when it's all black and white like this, it's really hard to tell what's practical in CG. The black and white effects actually do a really good job making everything feel very cohesive, very together, if that makes sense. There's also a fantastic scene at the end when Elsie gets a hold of the Bloodstone and she sits down in a chair like her victory assured, and the entire world, like, so before this, the only thing that had color was the Bloodstone. It was the only thing that had color. It was like the single point of red in the world. And when she grabs it, like, the red, like, gushes out and overwhelms your vision, which is like her viewing the world now free, colored. And it's just this really cool scene that was just like, oh, that's gorgeous. Look at that. That is just beautiful effects work right there. So yeah, I've got to give huge credit to this whole team. The editor was Jeffrey Ford. We got the executive producers, obviously Kevin Feige in the bunch. This was directed by Michael Giacchino. Fantastic job, director. Great job. Just hand clap. Apparently he also did the music, which was really good. Very creepy, ambient. I loved it. Reminded me a lot of those old black and white Universal monster movies. If you haven't seen those, just go watch those. Those are just a good time. All in all, though, there isn't really much else to say about this, so let's get on to the conclusion. Werewolf by Night is a great example of how Marvel has a giant catalog that can do basically anything. They dip their toes into black and white, old-style horror movies, and it turned out fantastically. Werewolf by Night is one of the best movies to come out this year. You know, that's pretty good. Not the best. There are definitely better things that have come out this year, and it's a small project, you know, it's a small movie. But quite frankly, this is just great. A great use of black and white cinematography, practical effects, good performances, great direction, great music, a good script, and really trying to be something unique, which I can appreciate. All in all, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. This is just a great job. Just, Marvel, do more stuff like this. I want to see you make your own cinematic monster universe and just give you the middle finger to the Universal Pictures. Wouldn't that be hilarious if Universal Pictures tries to launch the Dark Universe again? And everybody's like, you do realize Marvel also has Werewolf meets Dracula over there, because we have Werewolf by Night and Dracula, so we're going to do that on our own. Thanks, Universal, we don't need you. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's move into the spoiler section. We're probably not going to have much to say, because it's only a 53-minute movie, but hey. If you don't want any spoilers, skip ahead to the timestamp on screen in order to go to our announcements. To know what we're talking about next time. I'm probably going to be finishing up Dental Education. Just a little hint. Alright, everybody going to want spoilers? Cool. Well, there isn't really much to say. Jack Russell is the werewolf. Again, I said that's not a spoiler because his face is on the poster with a werewolf shadow above him, and he's the main character, aside from Elsa. You know, it's very clear that he's the werewolf from the beginning. You know which movie you're going into, okay? It's not a spoiler to say the guy on the poster with a werewolf shadow behind him is the werewolf. I don't think that's a spoiler. Anyway, with all that said and done, let's get into this. So, we have this whole cool opening scene where the monster hunters are all arriving in, like, the headquarters of Ulysses Bloodstone to compete for the honor of becoming the new head of the monster hunters. And you see all these monster skulls on the wall, and you got this big bearded guy coming in. He's like, which ones did you kill, Skinny Boy? It's like, I didn't kill any of these, I don't think. Did fight that guy a few times. And you see like this, like, you know, Nosferatu-looking Dracula thing. He's like, yes, that one. I hear old Bloodstone took him down. It's like, damn, I can't believe he's gone. And they all gather together, and apparently they're all, like, secret monster hunters. So they usually don't meet in person. They usually use, like, aliases and masks, hiding from each other. You know, very decentralized monster hunting operation. But they all knew Bloodstone. He was kind of like the best of their organization. Whoever wields the Bloodstone is obviously somebody everyone else in their possession is going to keep an eye out on. And then Elsa slides up, and her stepmother's like, "How dare you come here?" And yada, yada, yada. You know, the usual evil stepmother, "I'm about to get my power plays," and the daughters come back from the dead thing coming on. So they all have to go hunt a monster to progress. And I've already mentioned that, you know, they go through all, like, the kills, and everybody's like, "Oh, how come she gets to progress?" Like, well, she's his daughter, so she technically has a right to compete, even though she lost her rights to her, inheritance a long time ago. She has a right to compete for it, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So they go through this, and you'd think they're going to be, like, competing for the thing. No. Things go off the end really quickly. You suddenly start realizing, oh yeah, these monster hunters are kind of assholes. So basically they're like, alright, you can only use what weapons you find in the garden. They're all sent out to the garden. Jack gets the first, they draw lots of units to go first, everybody else goes after. And Jack is, like, wandering through there. He runs into Elsa, and he's like, look, we don't need to fight or anything. I can just, go past you. It's like, oh yeah, I guess I'll go past you. And then all of a sudden, this giant bearded guy comes out of nowhere with an axe saying, "I'll kill you all." And he tries to kill both Jack and Russell. It's like, Jack and Elsa, it's like, "I want that stone." And it's like, wait, they were gonna kill each other over this thing? It's so weird. It's like, they're monster hunters, and he was just perfectly willing to kill each other. And all the other hunters are too. They got this other, like, Asian guy. He got the, this, like, wrist-mounted crossbow. Tries to kill Elsa. And she manages to fend him off. Her and Jack end up getting locked inside of this tomb where Elsa remembers that one of her aunts was convinced she was going to come back from the dead, so she had them leave keys in her coffin. Which, honestly, if you think somebody's going to raise you from the dead, that's just, like, a smart thing to do. Like, just, that's I got to give her points for being credit. Clever. Anyway, after that, Jack explains he's here to rescue Man-Thing, who's his friend called Ted. Elsa decides to help him out in exchange for the Bloodstone, so Jack, she takes the Bloodstone off of Man-Thing, which was tied to him both as a prize and to weaken him, and Jack goes to throw a bomb to break through the outer wall so they can escape. And the bomb goes off, however, they get caught by the guards, and after they free Man-Thing, and when Jack goes to pick up the Bloodstone, it explodes because, he's a monster, he's a werewolf, it was reacting to him. As a result, they capture them and lock them in a cage, and Jack's like, oh, we have 5 nights to, figure out before the full moon comes. I'll definitely figure out something by then. It's like, and Elsa just stares at him like he's an idiot. It's like, you do realize the Bloodstone is made to fight monsters, right? 5 nights? You'll be lucky if you last 5 minutes. And Jack, starts panicking. He's like, alright, I need to remember your face. And he starts smelling her so the werewolf won't hurt her. Then they come in with these rituals, and he's like, look, if you do this, you're going to die. It's like, son, we're monster hunters. We know what you're doing. You get to die now. And it's like, okay, fine, be idiots. So they unleash the werewolf. The werewolf has this awesome fight scene where he starts ripping them apart. Elsa gets revenge on her mother. The werewolf runs off. Ted appears, and Elsa's like, yeah, he went that way. So Ted and Jack Russell end up at his camp in the woods, camping out. He wakes up all, naked and stuff like that. We have, the fully colored scene at the end there. And meanwhile, after they left, you have, the assistant guy played by, who was it? Rick Wasserman? No, that's the narrator. I forget who it was that played Billy Swan, the Bloodstone servant guy. He's kind of the Igor guy. He pulled the crank. And, Elsa just sits down. You have that awesome scene where the red light comes over. There was also the scene where Ulysses Bloodstone got to go ahead and he basically turned his body into an animatronic. So when the Igor guy cranked it, he basically played out his death wish of here's the rules for the competition, with his body moving like one of those fortune teller things. You see carnivals or pier side areas. Have you ever actually seen one of those things? I've actually never seen one of those gypsy fortune teller animatronic things. Anyway, that's basically it. Like I said, it's a pretty small, self-contained story. Just werewolf monster hunter wants to free Swamp Thing friend, and Monster Hunter's famous daughter wants to get the family's prized antique heirloom. That's it. That's really all this is. It's not really interconnected, no like after twist or anything. It's all just great. I like it. Nice, self-contained, solid story. So yeah. With all that out of the way, let's move on to the announcements. So, like I said, we do have several announcements coming up. We have the final book of Naomi Owen's Scalaman series, The Golden Enclaves. I have some positively mixed opinions on this that I'm going to be sharing. In addition, I'm putting together my review of Steel Rising. Video game reviews take a bit longer because I have a lot of footage to shift through. Sorry about that. That will probably be coming out either Tuesday or Friday of next week. Also next week, I'm going to be reviewing Halloween Ends. Because, for real this time, we swear, no, really, Halloween is definitely ending as a franchise. Yeah, right. You've made us this lie before. We know the truth. Michael Myers will never die. Unfortunately. Anyway, with that all out of the way, I guess that's about it. See you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. On your screen, you should be seeing a link to my channel. You go there and subscribe, that'd be great. In addition, you'll be seeing 2 other links. One's to my Season 2 playlist, that's all the videos from 2022. In addition, below that, you should be seeing a link to a video that YouTube apparently recommends you click on. So, why not click on it? See one of my other videos. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe it'll have something else you'll enjoy. Maybe YouTube doesn't know shit. We'll find out together.